Post-match analysis for Chat with Chaps, where it finished at the Hawthorns. West Bromwich Albion 0, Millwall 0. Not a game that's going to live long in the memory, was it? But a vital point, I think. And it sets the scene a little bit better going into the international break. A good performance defensively. And it felt very similar to the Millwall that we got for the 13 games that Harris was in charge last season. You know, really defensively sound. We're going to talk about that. And, you know, performances like that away from home, you'll take that against a side that they're a good side, West Brom. You know, they're not in the top six at the minute for no reason. And we had to put right the wrongs of what was an abysmal performance on Tuesday away at Cardiff, wasn't it? So we go into the international break with a little bit of momentum with that performance. Good defense performance. We're going to talk about that. But overall, it's one of them where I think you can look at it glass half full, glass half empty, and I'm going to try and sort of talk about both sides of the coin. But anyway, let's get into it as we always do. So 2 changes in the starting lineup for the game. And those 2 changes were Femi Aziz coming in for his first league start in a Millwall shirt, and Danny McNamara coming in for Joe Bryan. So the lineup looked like this: Lucas Jensen in goal, Ryan Leonard, Javid Tanganga, Jake Cooper, Danny McNamara, back 4. That was that back 4 that was so defensively sound last season. George Saville, Casper Denor on the right-hand side, Femi Aziz. Romain Esse moved to the left-hand side with George Honeyman behind Macaulay Langstaff. Now, I was more surprised by Aziz starting over Watmore. Neil Harris came out after the game and just sort of said that he felt that he needed to rest Watmore and Joe Bryan. Whether Joe Bryan was purely being rested or whether there was a little bit of, dropping him for what he did on Tuesday night, I do think it was his fault for the goal. I've seen it back many times, and nothing's changed my mind on that. So it might be that, don't know. But either way, Danny McNamara coming in to the starting 11, and obviously Femi Aziz with his first start. But it's nice to have the likes of Duncan Watmore to come on, right? Which he did, and we're going to talk about the substitutes a little bit later. For West Brom, I mean, they've had a very good start to the season. They lost on Tuesday at home to Middlesbrough, and it was interesting because I think we're the 2 oldest starting 11s in the league, Millwall and West Bromwich Albion. And they've got a lot of what I would call proven championship players, you know, just to name a few, Alex Mowat, to have John Swift to come on from the bench. But their main way of playing is obviously they're a very possession-based side, and they have 2 very tricky wingers in Mikey Johnston, I'll never get it right, and Tom Fellows. And they were always going to try, get down the sides of us, get balls into the box for Josh Maja. And by having, in my opinion, 2 of the best defensive one-on-one defenders in the league in Danny McNamara and Ryan Leonard, it gives you a good chance. And the game was very representative of that. You know, we had, depending on what source you look at, we had 21% possession roughly, which wasn't great, was it? But we had more shots on target than they did, which again is football's an interesting game. However, let's go through the sort of key actions, if you like, throughout the game like we normally do. Now, I'll caveat this that I had issues with I was watching it on Millwall TV, and the stream didn't work for, I think, the first sort of 20 minutes. So I was without, I didn't watch the first 20 minutes. I watched the highlights back, and from what I've been told, I didn't miss much other than one, probably West Brom's best opportunity of the game, where, they moved the ball quite slow. And I don't know whether that's because we were so deep, therefore they can't counter us, or because that's just the way they play. West Brom fans listen to this, you'll be able to tell me. But I didn't think they moved the ball that quickly. And I don't think they played anything. I don't think their football was outstanding, if I'm being honest. I don't look at them and I don't know. We'll see how this season plays out. But the chance comes, it's a really good ball. If you watch it back, Ajayi plays a defence splitting pass is a really good pass. I think it's Fellows. Fellows cuts it back, and this is a classic West Brom move. Cuts it back. Josh Madger over the bar, and that was their best chance of the game. I mean, factually, it was the one that we both ended up on around 0.6 xg, which again, going back to the point that they had 79% possession, but we still end up on the same xg. I mean, that to me, that just says a lot. But that was certainly the best chance of their game. I then managed to get the stream working. I feel a little bit for Millwall, if I'm honest, with the stream, because obviously the fans pay good money, and obviously I feel for it. I mean, I paid a tenner for it, right? But they are at the mercy of the stream, the people that kind of own the streams, and hopefully that's something that they can get rectified, because it's not good for the fans, it's not good for the club, and of course the fans will inevitably blame the club, even though it's actually not their fault. So, but anyway, we digress. So as soon as I turned it on, Danny Mack picks the ball up after Malumbi, I think, gave it away, and he has a shot, and it takes a deflection, and the keeper, to be honest, I thought it should have been a bit more of a routine save, but it wasn't. And we get a corner, and from the corner, Tanganga's got to do better there. You know, if he makes a proper connection, that could be 1-0 up. So he should do better there. Then there was a little bit of patient build-up from their point of view. I've noted down here, Darnell Furlong had a shot after some patient build-up from Mickey Johnston, where he completely bamboozled Femi Aziz. Aziz is going to learn, because we're going to talk. Actually, I'll come back to Aziz, because I want to talk a bit about some of the players individually, and we'll certainly talk about Aziz. But I felt his defensive work got better as the game went on. And he's going to have to learn that, particularly if he's going to play instead of the likes of Duncan Watmore. I've noted down here that we're really quite wasteful with possession. We had our, I mean, bear in mind we had 21% of it. We actually had our lowest pass completion rate of the season as well. And at times we were just lumping it forward, just giving it back to them. We didn't use the ball well enough yesterday at all. And that's when I talk about glass half full, glass half empty. The glass half empty bit is certainly with the ball, and the fact we've now 2 games away from home, not scored a goal in either of those games, and we're still looking for our first away win. So balanced view as always, but there's some of the things that concern me. However, we probably have it. According to the XG, it wasn't the best chance, our best chance of the game, although I don't quite understand that. But I think it was our best chance of the game, where, again, classic counter-attack from us this season. SA receives the ball, turns, gets it out of his feet, plays a really good ball to Langstaff on the left, who's peeled out. Langstaff drives to the byline, plays a brilliant ball, the sort of ball he would want to be on the end of, by the way, across the face of goal. And I think it's Alex Mawat who does just enough to put off Femi Aziz. To be honest, I think Aziz should be making contact there, and to be honest, he should be putting it in the back of the net. And this is where it's fine margins, because if you combine that defensive display that we had yesterday with just taking one of these chances, you come away with a 1-0 win at West Brom, and all of a sudden it looks phenomenal. And this is the fine margins in football. So that was a really good chance. And again, credit to SA and Langstaff for putting it across, and you expect Femi Aziz to do better there. I've noted down here a couple of times, I think it's on 48, Jensen comes for a free kick, and Carl Bartley actually heads it back away from him. And Jensen gets nowhere near it. Again, another cross came in, and Cooper and Jensen don't communicate properly, and Cooper heads it away just as Jensen's about to claim. I said this on the sort of live we did yesterday. Jensen, I firmly believe, will come good. And he's only 25, 26 years old. I genuinely think he's going to be our number one for years. My concern with him is his commanding presence. For a guy of his stature, he just doesn't fill me for confidence when he comes for things, because he makes some wrong decisions. And then as we've seen, I don't know if the defence trust him, because at times he'll come and the defence will clear it away. Maybe that's a communication thing. I'm not digging him out. I think he's, and again, you always compare it to Bart and to Matty. I think he's just got a bit to learn, and that's to be expected. He's still relatively young for a goalkeeper. As we approach the 60th minute, all I was going to say is all I could hear was the Millwall fans on Millwall TV. So if you were there, you certainly did us proud for sure. Then we make some subs, and I think these were the right subs to make. And I think it did two things. I think, first of all, it helped us maintain the intensity of some of our work rate off the ball. And I also think it gave us a little bit more of an outlet with Ivanovic. So the subs were Duncan Watmore, Mihailo Ivanovic, and Ryan Wintle came on for Macaulay Langstaff, Femi Aziz, and Casper Denor. My assumption on Casper Denor going off is I think he's played every 90 minutes in the league this season. And obviously Sav came off on Tuesday. And I think it was just a case of, they've all the stats, didn't they? They have all of like the vests and stuff. Probably something flagged up to say that he was starting to flag a little bit. But having the likes of the experience of Ryan Wintle to come on was fantastic. And I think those substitutions were the right ones at the right time, actually. I think it just enabled us to keep up that defensive work. And I want to shout out Romain Esse here, because he had to switch sides. He started on the left when he normally starts on the right. Then he came across to the right. And for that 90 minutes, his defensive work was excellent. So a big shout out to him. Couple of moments where we just threw our bodies on the line. You know, Leonard did. There was a block from Cooper, which was certainly on target if he hadn't have got there. It was a really good defensive display. And we'll talk about man of the match in a minute, but I think you probably could have picked any one of the back four, really, to be man of the match. I think, and also I think Romain Esse has to be up there, because of he's the one player that he's added that defensive work to his game, right? He already had the quality to get us up the pitch, but he's that one player when we're in games like yesterday that we just need someone who can just hold the ball for a little bit and just try and get us up the pitch. It's a bit like, for anyone who watches NFL, you know, just having someone that can just get some yards. And that's what Romain Esse can do. So you combine the maturity of his defensive performance with his ability to carry us up the pitch at vital times. I thought Romain Esse was fantastic yesterday, although his output per se wouldn't necessarily quantify as much of the performance that I think he put in. We had a couple of half chances, right? You know, Ivanovic had two headers, one from a Danny Mac cross that I think he'll be hoping to do better with in the future. I think with Ivanovic, I mean, he's like 19 years old, right? And you can tell how eager he is to impress. I think he's going to give away a lot of fouls, free kicks, and yellow cards. I think he does need to be careful. You can just tell he's quite a physical lad, right? He's putting himself around, and I think he does need to be careful a little bit. Speaking of being physical, Cooper's shirt was literally ripped in half. We were talking yesterday, and have we ever had a penalty from Jake Cooper? It's almost laughable. Although what I will say is, there was a moment yesterday where we had a free kick and Cooper literally just pushes someone in the back. It's like, why do it? You're the biggest guy on the pitch. You don't need to do it. I don't know why Cooper does that. But anyway, then on 72, a good ball, I think it was Fellows again, into Maja. Tanganga goes with him, and a really good sliding block that just takes the sting out of the shot, and it ran safely into Jensen's arms. On 79, Danny Mac came off, and obviously Joe Bryan came on. And then there was that free kick, wasn't there? On 88. So just to contextualise this, 88 minutes, you've worked your absolute bollocks off all game. You've been throwing your body on the line. I'm referring to the back four here. And it was factually, the best defensive display of the season. We had 70 defensive actions in total, which is the highest amount all season. That's tackles, interceptions, clearances, to their 16, would you believe? So it just tells you how much of the ball that they had. 70 defensive actions in total against their 16. And Ryan Leonard on his own had 17. So Ryan Leonard on his own had more defensive actions than the entirety of the West Brom team. But put all that into context, you get a free kick on 88 minutes. You know, you're happy with a point, but this is a real opportunity. You know, so much is made about Millwall being fantastic from set pieces. Well, we haven't been for a little while now. And then Honeyman I'm a George Honeyman fan. If you listen to this, you'll know. But that is just, It's just shocking. Like, it's a dead ball situation. Yes, you're tired, but he just overhits it and it goes out for a throw. And you don't normally see Jake Cooper be, what's the word, animated, but he certainly was after that. And who can blame him, right? It was really, 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 really poor. I've also noted down here in the last sort of 5-6 minutes, Jake Cooper with a number of vital headers. They had a few corners, and he was making sure he was first contact in there. And again, a worthy shout for man of the match. And then the game ends, and we get a point. And like I say, you can look at it one way and say, yes, they had a lot of the ball, but to coin Neil Harris's phrase, we controlled where they had the ball. We made sure it was with the likes of Carl Bartley, where they couldn't hurt us. And although they had 79% possession, we actually had more shots on target they did and arguably created the better chances. We've got a clean sheet away at a top 6 side, and the international break will give us some time to get some players back fit, give a bit of a breather to those who may need it. And then we've got 4 out of 5 games at home after. That's your glass half full. Your glass half empty is that we still haven't got a win away from home. Our points tally still isn't good enough, despite majority of the performances being really good. We spent basically the whole game defending. We had our lowest possession of the season, our lowest passes, our lowest XG. We only had a 55% pass completion rate. And we haven't scored a goal in 2 games. That's the kind of negative view. But, I'm just sort of giving both sides of the coin. For me, I am slightly on the more optimistic side because I do think overall our performances have warranted more points. And you don't want to let a Cardiff performance dampen everything. I think now the proof will be in the pudding because we've got some winnable games, right? We've got Plymouth, Derby, Swansea. These are games that typical Millwall we won't do well in because we normally do better against the better sides. Because, as I've said many times before, when we have more than 50% possession, we don't really know what to do with it. Games where we have 30, 40% possession is where it suits us, just not 20. But yeah, so look, I'm optimistic. I won't be at the Derby game. I'll be on my holidays. Very much looking forward to that. But one or two of the boys are going to tag team and do a post match. Certainly, Disco Steve is on for the hook. Sorry, mate. I know you probably think, what am I doing there? Throwing you under the bus. But no, looking forward to that. And hopefully there will be a show out over the international break that I think everyone will be eagerly anticipating. So let's just see how that goes. We're working on it at the moment. Man of the match. So, as I said, I think you can make an argument from Ryan Leonard because most defensive actions, typical Ryan Leonard display. What he does so well is with these pacey wingers, he lures them into a false sense of security, shows them the byline, puts the afterburners on and wins because he's quicker over that 15 yard than most players in the league. He did get beaten a couple of times yesterday. Dobbin beat him once when he came on. And of course, he picked up that booking. But overall, I thought he was excellent. I thought Cooper came in for some criticism on Tuesday. But I felt really good performance yesterday. First contact a lot of the time, throwing his body on the line. I thought he was excellent. Tanganga is just, I don't know. I've run out of superlatives. He's a class act. And I've already talked about Romain Esse and the fact that he played the full 90 minutes. He put the defensive shift in. He had to move from left to right and whatever. And of course, he was that outlet. But I'm going to give my man of the match to Danny McNamara. I think it's very, very difficult to be out in the cold, come back into the side against a good side with an incredibly good winger that you've got to deal with one-on-one, bearing in mind you're actually not a left back. And not only that, he had a decent shot and he put a ball in for Mihailo Ivanovic. His overall game, I think, was really good. And obviously, it's a shame he went off in 79 minutes. Hopefully, it's just a bit of cramp. But so I'm going to give my man of the match to Danny McNamara. I think it's well deserved. And I thought he was excellent, in fairness. And I think, guys, to be honest, that's about it. I don't really know what else to say. It's difficult when it's a 0-0 draw, right? Of course, I will now plug the subscriptions. So please, guys, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Please give it. If you're listening to this right now, just like it, please, because all of that helps the algorithm of the channel. And of course, if you don't know by now, everything we're doing this season goes to Cancer Research UK. We've had a really good start. So please, guys, just like, share, subscribe, any of that. It really, really, really helps. And it's much appreciated from me and all of the lads. If you want to listen to some more of the lads, we did a live show yesterday, which is on, of course, already on and up on YouTube, where we talk about the game. And then, of course, we also go on to talk a bit about September review. So if that's something that's of interest, please do check that out. And as I say, I think that we've got hopefully a really good show coming up for you very soon. So I'm going to leave it there. Enjoyed the international break. I think they seem to be really, really often this season. I don't know if it's just me, but enjoyed the international break. And as I say, hopefully some more content coming out very soon. Thank you for listening as always. It's always much appreciated. Really do appreciate it. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.